Alright, hello and good morning everybody for a Friday morning stream. Remember when I said morning streams are gonna be easier than evening streams? They still are. They still are. So usually I do these game dev and chill streams on Thursday nights after work. I've been working later at work. Or I've wanted to have like social plans after work, especially with now doing video essays for YouTube. The last one being the 3DS one is being received pretty well, so I want to put more time and quality into those. I don't want to always work late at work, and when I don't, I want to use that time for social stuff and recharging as well. So it was kind of easier for me to shift streams from the evening to the morning, so we're trying out this morning slot. If it seems like it's not gonna work out, then we can of course move it back to Thursday evenings, but I wanted to see how Friday mornings sounded for game dev and chill streams. And yeah, just give it a little try. I've started having to work earlier at work too, is the thing though. I hope that will be just like a short-term thing though. But yeah, if I end up having to make morning streams like just an hour max and end them like a half an hour to an hour earlier than I usually would like to for the next little bit here, and then that's probably why I'm gonna try not to. But yeah, for like today's stream, we're just gonna keep it around like an hour, maybe an hour 15, and just do an extra chill stream. And then next week we're going to start actually concepting out a new map, and I think I want to do a blockout stream on not this weekend. This weekend I will be mostly busy. And then whenever I am freed up again, we will do a Hades 2 stream sometime on Sunday, probably later afternoon. And I just said we're cutting evening streams to potentially an evening stream, depending on when I'm free on Sunday. And then the following weekend, we're going to have... Why did the whole thing just freeze up there? And then the following weekend, I would like to have just a full-on game dev weekend. What is happening? Unreal. Okay, my editor just bit the bullet. What happened? Let me exit out some other side stuff here. Why is Microsoft Teams open? What the hell? I haven't used Teams in like a year. Why was Teams open? I'm gonna have to reload this map. Something just like immediately broke in Unreal, and I don't know what it was. So we're gonna have a chill stream because I don't know what's going on in Unreal. We haven't opened this project in a couple weeks. Shouldn't be a big deal, but apparently it has other ideas for us. But for those that don't know, I like to have, since I'm a level designer professionally, I like to have like little sandbox projects that we use to just make mistakes, make silly things, and learn new things in Unreal. I've been using it for over 5 years, but you can always learn more. So that's kind of what we use these little streams to do, and to make small, not all of them end up being portfolio projects. I think the last stream project we did that actually ended up on my portfolio was the Pumpkin Patch Arena. That was over a year ago now. But yeah, I like doing the ones that don't end up on portfolio always, but make for fun little side adventures. So currently, what we're working on is a bunch of arena maps inspired by and recreating arenas from Kid Icarus Uprising. I joked that I was going to just keep making these arenas and eventually polish them, and if several years down the line after doing that for an hour a week we ran out of content, we could go into even remaking little bits of the main game until Nintendo makes a sequel or a port or something to do with Kid Icarus again. I joke that we'll do that until that happens, because then Nintendo's probably gonna have their eyes on the stuff. And I did that because I was really confident. I thought they would announce something at the Switch 2 launch direct, and they didn't, but they announced Sakurai was on a Kirby Air Riders game, which is better, which is good because I want him to do something fresh and something he wants to do, so I'm immensely excited for that. It is kind of the nail in the coffin for Kid Icarus as of like the early years of the Switch 2 though, I fear. So we may be working on this for a long time. I still want to try to hold to that, but we are going to switch it up occasionally. We might do some occasional. I have a different prototype idea that's actually pretty solid, that I might, whenever I have the free time, both just literally and like creatively, I would like to actually just take a week and grind out that entire prototype, gameplay wise and like rough block out wise, and see how feasible it is. So I'd like to get around to that some point this year. We are also going to be jumping back into the Fortnite version of Unreal, UEFN. We did a few maps on that last year. We're going to jump back into that in the fall and do some work on, we made an Oz Tycoon map last year, which I actually think to this day, like, I always see 2 people on it like every day, even though I haven't updated it like since last year. So shout out to those 2 people. This update is going to be for you, but we're gonna make an Oz Tycoon 2.0. In fact, maybe we should just make a completely separate one from scratch, now that I think about it. I'll have to keep thinking about it, since that those 2 people really love the original Oz Tycoon, and you know what? I don't want to take that away from them. So maybe we'll build something, else up, or maybe we'll duplicate it, and make it a bit better and stuff. But that will be as soon as fall rolls around. We'll start handling stuff with Oz Tycoon for Blacktober, and then yeah, maybe we'd like to switch it up for the holiday season. But we have 2 maps in this Kid Icarus sandbox we've been working on. We've been redoing one of the Forgotten City, which is a very like square and very basic shape map with a lot of like bricks and stones and just like a lot of stonework that was easy to find. I did also do a pass with a bunch of foliage in it and made it look a lot pretty, and kind of went for an overgrown thing since the map itself would be like a decade old now. Went for like maybe the foliage is growing back, and also it's Unreal 5, so I had to place some. And then the other one we did more recently was Spiral Tower. That's like the most recent game dev stream. Was we were working on the Destructibles and Geometry collections over on that front. So now we polished those up over there. There were some collision issues that I wanted to take care of, but we did that for all the ones in that map, so I wanted to take this morning and polish up all the collision stuff with our geometry collections on this map, though it's being stubborn about it. Let me just make sure I exit out of everything else I don't need right now. In fact, let me go invisible so I don't get pings. Unreal stream, hello Tapman. Yeah, I'm trying out doing some in the mornings before work instead of after work, because it's I've realized after work, even like my chill streams with Zelda were fun, and that used to be the only time I was able to stream, so that's why I did them a lot after work at my parents' house. But I've realized at my old age of mid-20s that I'm very burnt out, and I've been working longer hours recently. I'm very burnt out to burn out the stream. So I want to try it in the morning, because these morning streams have been going surprisingly well. They get me up and ready for the day. Just stream my work. Oh yeah. Yeah, of course. I don't know. Never seen an NDA in my life, except for all the ones I've signed. That is something I always make sure to whenever I'm like new to a place. I'm like, I like to do streams. I like to do game dev streams. I'll never ever stream, never ever stream confidential work. In fact, my first project, or not first project, but like my first AAA release, like I remember like there was a lot of weirdness about whether or not we were allowed to talk about it, even though we were already in the credits. So to this day, I haven't, like, I've talked about it. It was for Tiny Tina's Wonderlands at the time. But I was so scared about being able to talk about it that I didn't, like, openly talk about it for like a year. For like a year. And I haven't played the game on stream. I've replayed it several times. But I haven't played the game on stream and specifically talked about my work in that because there's the PTSD of, even though I haven't worked at that company for over a year, there's the PTSD of being like, someone's just gonna break into my house and slap me. But it should be okay. But yeah, I do hope one day to talk about all my release stuff. I think that would be a lot of fun, but we'll see. Oh my gosh, I should have opened this project up a little earlier, I guess, or yesterday. I like compiled all the shaders once, and then as soon as I moved the camera, all of the shaders broke on the map, so I just went to a different map and it's doing the same thing. Actually, what in the world is actually happening here? It's like all of the assets got broken. I don't think it's... Why is everything so... I'm gonna change the scalability here. You thought I was badass? Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, it was hard because I just did like arena work on that game, which that was like the fastest I've ever learned how to do something in my life, was learning like how to use like their engine, and then like learning how to do all these like things, and like learning like how fast to do polish and debugging, but like at the AAA level. Like it was the fastest skilled thing I've ever had to do in terms of like learning for my career, and it was stressful, but I really loved it. I was very eager when I first got into the AAA industry. So I know most people, like, on paper, they'd be like, well, the arenas were my least favorite part of Wonderlands, and that's valid because the main levels in that game are so fantastic that they should be your favorite. But for someone that has started to specialize in arena design, it was a very, very solid first footing into that. And it's a fantasy. It's a shooter. I do well with like first-person shooter, like level design wise, but gameplay wise, I really like the sparkly butt explosion type stuff. So it ended up being the perfect project for me. I'm like, I want to do first-person shooter designs, but I don't know much about guns. But I do love designing for them. But also, it would be cool if there were some pink sparkles in there. So it was perfect. What? Speaking of perfect, this is not perfect. What? What happened to the lighting in this level? Even in unlit mode, what did Unreal do? So where's my scalability thing? I had something to scale the setting. It like reset all my settings, I feel. Not technically all of them, but it feels like a lot of stuff is missing. I did not, this is still 5.5. I did not move it up into I did not move it up into 5.6 yet because I was worried something like this would happen. And now it's happened on the existing version. I try to defend this engine so much every day of my life, and it does stuff. Did assets get re-imported? They shouldn't have. They shouldn't have. But that's what it's acting like. I thought all these asset packs were like already good to go. I mean, at least the tree. Hey, the trees didn't get affected. That's good. I want to try changing the scalability features, but I forgot where that menu is. Settings. Where'd they put the— oh my god, where's all my stuff? There we go. Okay, we have them on— I put them on epic because we have a better computer now. I'm gonna bump us down to high, folks. Okay, that just makes the bug less annoying. Wait, the flowers came back. So weird. That— okay, that's worse. Go back to high. That was horrible. That was horrible. Yeah, it really did feel fun, because those were the first things I streamed to, was like doing those very first FPS levels on my portfolio. And now I feel very now I feel very seasoned. Ambient occlusion? It shouldn't be. I even have the screenshots of how this looked the last time we opened this up. She was looking all right. Wait, I'll just like refresh everything. Yeah, it's there is no snow at all in this map. Everything just went— it's like all the textures went missing, but nothing moved. I haven't moved any of these folders. Oh, there's my cat. Actually, let me open up the Spiral Tower map and see if my— it froze. Okay. Yeah, he's still in there. Let's switch back to Spiral Tower real quick and see if the— you know, most other stuff broke, but he he's still up there, alive and well. And so, like, most of the ones in here seem fine. Go ahead and hit play. Let me see if the Lyra textures on the other stuff is fine. I remember last stream some of the foliage started turning white, and I was like, that's weird. I hit play and it froze. Oh my god, Unreal's embarrassing me. Is my shit gonna crash? Oh. Now it's preparing shader. Maybe it almost feels like it just hasn't fully prepared shaders. Like it just gave up. It was like, I don't want to do that today. But like I'm sure there's only 16 whole shaders you're preparing right now, Unreal. I'm sure. This is game dev. If you've ever wondered what is like the average game dev experience, or if you've ever wondered, wow, you must be doing so much if you're like working late, this is usually the experience. It will be like when you need to do the most work in an editor, you'll open it up and it will be doing some goofy shit like this. And it'll be like, oh, I have to spend the first half of my day debugging something. Oh my goodness. What happened? This was running fairly smooth. I'm about to even pull up the VOD of the last game dev stream and like compare and contrast. We might get to do we might get to do work today. Fantastic. Okay, Lyra stuff's loading in. Oh, the RT flag still works. I think it's everything from this medieval pack, because we did use a lot of stuff. Maybe, is that where the foliage is from? No, the foliage is from a separate pack, though. And where are said materials? Debugging. Or wait. No, is it Lookout Tower? Okay, these are all loading in fine. Let me check. Let's go to static mesh. Let's go to this material. Why are you like this? Coloration? I don't... Where is your base color? I see it. I can... Don't do this to me. Don't make me click randomly into each. It's like just not. It has everything. Oh my god. Yeah, they're just not loading. They're just not loading. When I click into them, they're like, oh yeah, we have that here. I'm like, can you load that for everything? And they're like, no. All shaders have been compiled. Do I just have to open all these materials? What? Why? Why? Why do I have to do this? Can I just we can just select and save. If we just resaved everything, that should also work. What? What the hell? I opened this before streaming too. What? You run into something new each day. I don't even have the words. Where did all our foliage come from? Because we gotta take care of business for all of these. Okay, so anything that looks like snow should not be. Well, actually, just to be safe, save all. The foliage is gonna be a bit trickier. Oh, because we have to find it's the textures themselves that aren't. Oh my lord, where? Just give me your textures. Where did they go? Hmm? I almost wonder if just fully reloading the map would have fixed stuff, but we started to see it last time it was starting to pop up in our levels, so I don't feel like a full reload would have fixed things. Okay. It had the textures, it had all the textures, it just didn't want to do it. What the hell? Okay. I think those were all the same ones that were broken over here. Anyway, half an hour into stream. Would you guys like to start working on the destructibles? Now that we've done that. Just like that South Park clip where, what do we do now? What do you mean? Now we can start playing the game. Anywho, ignore the pebbles for now. They're not supposed to be luminescent. I ain't doing all that. But anywho, this map again comes from Kid Icarus Uprising. We're doing a blockout study of their arena modes. We did something similar like this with a level from a Wallace and Gromit platformer game a couple years back, where I remade like my favorite one as a kid that I don't know why I was obsessed with it, so I remade it in blockout to study what makes a person fixate over a level. So this was the first one we did for Kid Icarus because it's very, very simple, but still a lot of fun if you're actually good at games. And then we did a few streams working on like, it's still not art quality yet because again, I'm a level designer, so the arty stuff is that's what I usually work with artists for. But for getting like placeholder and vision stuff in, can do that. But yeah, we need to now we need to polish up some of the. Stop shooting at me, I'm trying to teach. We need to polish up some of the destructibles here, because as you can see, they just, if anything hits them currently, they all fly away, and they still, the bigger piece, or the smaller pieces have collision that you can get stuck on, and they all just like fly away like they weigh nothing. That's not gonna work for us. That's not gonna work for us. There's a team remaking the Toy Story 2 game? Oh my god. Actually, my favorite one is Toy Story 3 for specifically the Nintendo DS. I always wanted the main console version of Toy Story 3 because that's the one they advertise on Disney Channel all the time. And they're like, Toy Story now has open world sandbox mechanics. And that was the first time I ever learned what a sandbox game was as a kid. now I realized it wasn't like the first sandbox game ever, so they kind of just misled me with that, but it was my introduction to a sandbox title. So I really wanted that one, but I actually never owned that one. I asked for it, and then I ended up getting the DS version, but I played the DS version, and I'm biased, it is probably better. It has solid level design, genuinely, and also they don't have a sandbox mode, but they have a tower control mode, and it's like set up like little board games and stuff. Oh my god, it's so much fun. I actually genuinely, the reason I have been meaning to get a capture card in my 3DS at some point isn't honestly just to stream 3DS games, it's to stream regular DS games, and not like the stuff you can usually emulate, but I am talking the Toy Story 3s, I'm talking the Bolt was incredible on the DS, I'm talking Imagine Babies, like anything that feels like it would be shovelware. I ate that stuff up because it used to genuinely be good. I actually have a video essay idea planned for one day, but I would need to have the capture card to get half of that footage, hence why it's not on the schedule for any time in the next year. But I do want to one day compare the version of Disney's Bolt games, both the version that's on the 3DS and then the version that went out on like main consoles like the PS3, because I genuinely loved playing that game on the DS as a kid, so when I saw it was on like PlayStation now, I got really excited and I was like, oh my god, I was like, I loved this game, I can't wait to replay it. And it was a little different. It like had smoother graphics, more open spaces, and it had voice acting. So those are all things that you would think would make, obviously, the console title better. But I didn't like it. It like unimmersed me. I was like, I liked the tighter, more action-packed little areas on the DS. I liked that there wasn't voice acting because it made all the sound effects and the little like little portraits they had like really emotional. Like the DS version of the game made me really sad, and then the PS3 version of the game, like I just was trying not to laugh at the voice acting. So I would love to deep dive into that one day. I found my other 3DS, my original one, so I can send that one in. It does have Kid Icarus on it also, so I can send that one in, and just in case something were to happen, I would still have my main, like, 3DS, my bigger one. But it's just been time and money recently. Definitely a few years younger than me. I remember Toy Story 2 and like the Stuart Little Bugs Life games and stuff. It was more like I didn't get into handheld gaming until mainline handheld gaming until the DS, I think. I had a Game Boy, and then I had the Leapster. It was like educational gaming, but that thing was fire. I had a Leapster. But it was also the recession, you know? So we were trying to pay bills, and I was like, but I want to be a gamer. My parents were like, do you want food or not? But they did great. They got me into, we did have a GameCube. We usually just got consoles like a couple years after release, and we would have to trade up like whatever previous console we had. But we did have a GameCube for a while, and that was a lot of fun. I loved the GameCube. I was around during the N64 days, and I think my dad really wanted one. But I think like my sister was a baby at that time too, so babies tend to take priority over the N64. I hate to say it. I hope it doesn't make me sound ridiculous, but babies tend to take priority. I think I was a baby when it actually like originally came out, so it just never, a lot of like the N64 stuff We actually didn't end up playing until much later because of that. I didn't min-max my birth enough. I should have been planning better in the womb. But yeah, geometry collection time. So I made a little list. I made a little highlight also of like all the things I was doing to basically fix these geometry collections. I think the ones I fixed, I started removing the SM out of the title for static mesh because these aren't static meshes anymore. They're geometry collections. They're moving around and stuff. So what we did to fix this with other things is first, I did set up, and I went over that in a past video too, because I don't remember how I set it up now, but I did set up, you basically need an impact field of some sort on what you want to say when this thing with an impact field hits a geometry collection, it will explode. You can do things where you put it in a sequence where you have it spawn in and then it explodes it. You can have it be something like around you if you, the character yourself, are going to be just able to walk through buildings as a power-up or something. But for this map, we put them around the grenades when the grenades explode, not just the grenades themselves. Though you can put like a much smaller impact field around the grenade if you have something light. So if you want to throw something and it knocks something over, that's when you'd want to have like a lighter field around the object itself. But we have one spawn in on explosion that causes the massive explosion. So the number value we have for the impact on here is even higher than this because it has to be higher than the mass to be able to move it. But yeah, this number seems incredibly high, but consider the material we have. So if you're just blowing up like a thing of cardboard, that mass can be much, much lower. But we are blowing up brick walls, so hence that's why it wasn't feeling right to me before until we cranked the mass. In fact, I think I'll just copy this value and paste it so that we get it the same each time. Is it this? Where did we put this one in? Oh wait, that's static. Okay, we'll start with this tower then. Rename it so we know that we're working on it. We're going to paste the mass. And then is that it? No, that is not it, because I want to polish up a few more things with the geometry collection itself. So right now, let me type in, if you type in bone in here, hee hee ha ha. Oh, why is it in all caps? It's not that serious. If you type in bone in here, then you can do show bone colors, and this shows like where it will all break apart and stuff. You can also preview it, the pieces a bit better with explode amount here. In fact, doing so lets me know that this piece, so you can refracture stuff. You can see like the little tree here for each level that you break stuff down. You can break pieces down to be smaller and smaller and smaller. So like I don't want this to explode in this window just like pops out as normal. If it were like a metal window, then we'd want it to just pop up out completely separately, like when you break a door off its hinges. But this is also brick, so we're going to do just another. I usually just use uniform and cluster. There is a brick option here. You'll notice there is a brick option, which if I wanted to spend 20 more hours on this, I would do. Because you have to line up the bricks to be exact with your texture, and that takes a lot of finesse. So I usually just like using uniform and then using cluster if I want smaller pieces. But yeah. Let's do just like 5 and 5. That way it breaks into some pieces there. I'm gonna take everything, I think, maybe, and break it down once more. Or no, that's not what I was gonna do. I remember what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to take these pieces on the bottom here. Yeah, I'm gonna take like the whole bottom essentially. And I'm going to right click and I'm going to hit anchored, yes. I'm gonna hit initial state static. So what this means is that when a grenade hits this, these pieces that I've anchored into place are not going to move. They're going to stay put. So if you want something where the base of something stays in place, but then pieces of the asset fracture off and blow away, that looks a little more realistic sometimes. But it also depends on what you want to do. Like, it may not make sense I'm blowing this up at the base, and then it will explode at the top. So you might be like, that's not realistic, that doesn't work for me. And that's fine. But for me, what I want to do is I just want to have a piece of cover that stays in place. And then if you have destructive stuff going on near it, it will like crumble into pieces over your head. That's what I'm trying to do with it. But you can do whatever way you want. But if you want to keep a tiny bit of the mesh in place, I recommend doing it, making it a bigger chunk, and then anchoring it in place there. And then what I do here is I just hit invert, and it inverts the selection, so it grabs anything else that's not anchored down now. Actually, why is so much of this anchored? Oh, because I grabbed everything like a silly. So now we'll grab everything else and we'll set that to not be anchored in that case. And then we're going to break this down again. We're going to break it again. I'm going to do a cluster fracture. It will make these pieces near the top a lot smaller. And we'll leave that there. But before we get rid of everything, so we need collision profiles, I believe. So we're going to edit the collision now for each of these pieces via collision profile per level down here. And you can see how many levels you have. It's like the little tree here. You can even do like color by level to help decipher it. But essentially, it starts from 0 coding wise and whatnot. So we have like technically 4 levels, level 0 being the overall structure, so when it's in place before it's been broken down. Level 1 being when it's broken down a little bit into those larger chunks. Level 2 being when like the top's broken up a little bit more, and level 3 being like all those super tiny pieces that we just added. So what we're going to do is we're going to say that for levels 1 and 2, so we go over here and add, so at index 0 and 1, we're gonna have collision profile per level. I forget if I just left it none or if I said no collision. I'm just gonna put no collision for those, and then for index 2 and 3, or wait, no, I inverse this. What am I doing? What am I doing? We're going to put no collision on these smaller bits, so index 2 and 3, and then we're going to put default for these. I think that's what I did on the other ones. Wait, that should take care of it there. In fact, I think we could do it. Can we do that on here itself? We might not be able to. Might not be able to because it's dookie. I'll also say I have very mixed feelings. I've talked about in the past on this like collision system because it's very broken, but it's good to prototype stuff with. But whenever I have people be like, oh yeah, we can make like a very high fidelity game using just this system, I'm like, absolutely not. You're out of your mind. Do not. It's not exactly like a high quality AAA ready. It's a very impressive tool for prototyping. But if you want to have these big like explosive moments, you need to confer with like everybody. You need to have some tech expertise on it. Need to have someone artsy on it, and then you need to have a game designer in there being like, hey, this is cool, but we have to make sure to manage collision in a way that's optimized and something that won't completely ruin the gameplay space for the game we're making. You've got to have a lot of people involved. You can't just be like, hey, just make this. I'm sure it's easy. These can be very picky things. Now let me turn off the bone color so we can... Actually, let's leave them on and see how it looks. So yeah, we aren't able to run through it currently because it is locked in place. Okay, I don't think we wanted no collision. I think we want destructible. I realize now we want destructible. It fell through the entire world, and I don't want that to happen. Again. So now we can see we can run through these pieces. We might actually keep it just on the super tiny pieces if we want to kick some of these around. But we can run through the stuff that has been exploded, but we can still crouch behind this and use this as cover. I think I'll go ahead and just put it on here. We'll turn off bone color now too. Yeah, this is the type of polish I wanted to do for today. Okay, yeah, so the bigger pieces still have some collision to them, but then the smaller ones don't. That one pushed me back. Yeah, sometimes in moments like this, it's like you really want to have like all the pieces have collision for realism, but again, level design wise, then that gets in the way of your navigation. Enemies get stuck, player gets backed into corner. They could theoretically have pieces fall around them and get them stuck. So turning off collision, even if that's not how it works in real life, there's a reason that you do it, depending on your game. Ooh, this coffee's good. Yeah, that is how you polish them up. And now the goal is to find all of these and polish them up across the whole map. Which I guess we can just... see. We can just search through all of these. Oh, this is where this one is. Okay, this one I think I already have locked in place so that it won't This one I think is already all static because we just wanted to take a little bite out of it, but we don't want it to actually explode. Yeah, it's all anchored in place. So it won't explode, right? Oh, good. Good. So that one's actually just ready to go. So again, I'm renaming and taking the static mesh portion out of each of these as we fix them because they are not static anymore, and it just helps me know if there's any pieces we're missing. This wall here, like, I think I'd want some of the very bottom pieces intact while the rest of it's able to be destructible here. So let's browse to the asset, open it up. Let's put in that gigantic mass number so that weighs a bit more. Maybe just this piece here. Though that might, it's small enough that that might look like weird if it's... Grab these and do a small uniform cut. Just do something like this on the bottom. So then we go ahead and invert that. And let's do a cluster on it. So now this one has like 6 whole levels. I don't know why I did that or why I just did that more, but it's gonna explode into super tiny pieces. It'll be really cool. What's up? Hello, Natsack. How are you doing? We're trying out doing these game dev streams before I go into work instead of after I already do work. So we need 6 of these. So let's do default for everything up until level 4 and 5. If I could spell default correctly. Now if we check this, should have collision now. Did I turn the mass up enough? That was very that was very extreme. Okay, but this piece is still in place. That piece didn't actually move. Wait a minute, why is... we turned the mass up, what's going on? Okay, that's... I guess I just had to I guess I just had to save it. Yeah, I meant to already get a little further into how many destructibles we polished here, but we had a fun thing where Unreal just didn't it compiled the shaders, but it didn't load in like 75% of the textures. I had to manually click into them, and it was like, oh yeah, you have all the textures here, they're loaded. It just didn't like fully load any of them, so we had to go through and like resave all the textures in the project. It was really weird. But I'm hoping to try, and if it seems like it doesn't work out with my current work schedule, then that's fine, but I'm hoping to try. I've been a bit more consistent with morning streams than evening streams recently. So I'm hoping to try more of these on Friday mornings for game dev, and then I've been trying to stream on Mondays and Wednesdays with more like chill stream stuff. Like we're gonna check out the new Sims 4 expansion on Monday, hopefully. Though I've heard this one breaks your game bad, and since we have some modded characters, we might be in for quite the show on Monday. I have this Sims 4 Decades challenge that I got really addicted to in a very morbid way, but I'm only a few decades into it, and then there was like this annoying like mod I had installed that like the updated version removed a setting, but because it removed that setting, I can't alter it anymore. I think for a different challenge on like a different save, I had like the to make it spicier, I had it so like anyone could kiss anyone, you know, and that was like all fun and dandy there. That was dramatic, but when you're doing a traditional decades challenge and you're like, these people are gonna be like completely devoted to each other, like even looking at a woman's ankle, it's scandalous. And then you've got people just going ham in the background and I can no longer turn that setting off. I was like, so I like put it down because I was waiting for a fix for that mod to come through, and I haven't touched it in months because every time I go to check fixes for that mod, regular Sims 4 breaks a bit more. So I'm hoping whenever stuff gets figured out with this like latest update, like maybe in the next month or so, I can get back to my decades challenge. They keep breaking stuff, man. I just want to play the game. I just want to play the game. I'm like, no one's faithful in my files anymore. It's so annoying. But I don't have that setting. I never had it set up on our streams file, so we're good. When they cheat on each other in our stream file, know that they're doing that of their own spite, of their own will, of their own like code in the game. When Bayonetta cheated on Peach like 20 times, she did that to herself. Except for that time in Sims 2 that I made her, and then they got divorced and Bayonetta got kicked out to the street. That might have been a little bit my fault, but other than that, no, not my fault at all. It'll be fun to get back to Sims 4. What was I gonna... Oh yeah. Show bone colors. Crank up the mass. Save the mass. Dude, I kind of want to keep this light blue piece. That's a nice that's a nice fracture right there. That's the one we're gonna, no changes. Anchor that one down. It's perfect. And then for the other two, fracture. Where did it go? This one will just be default for index 0 and 1, I think. And then destructible on 2. Save the name. Ooh, that was nice. Oh, and then it flung into the tower? Oh, that was nice. That was nice. You know, I gotta disable these enemies. I'd love to look at the collision without them shooting me. So we probably won't get to all of these on stream. I was hoping to be able to, but seems like we have quite a bit left. In our little debugging detour for the first half of stream. That was fun. We got for you. Let's do just this piece. Actually, you know what? For this piece, because it's kind of like on the edge here, let's not anchor anything down. What if we just took everything and did that? I'm still going to apply the collision profiles. Oh my gosh, I have to use like the cord for the cat ears because they're dying all the time, but it keeps like looping around my keyboard right under the control button, which is a very important button. So I keep like going to press it and then it will be jammed and not do anything. Why is life so hard? Save mass on that. Rename it. So let's see how this one feels. Now why did it— I guess maybe we should have one anchored in place, because what? Where did it go? I guess we'll do— I mean, I broke them down smaller so it can be a really tiny piece at the bottom. Let's do you. Oh, that's a bigger piece. It's fine. Y'all can be happy and anchored in place and keeping the whole thing together. But after this, I'll probably just do like a regular little test run. Oh, and then they fall into the void? That's nice, that's nice. Okay, yeah. Maybe I think I could put destructible on the second tier of this actually. The pieces are small enough. So we got a little bit of the way. I'll probably keep working on this as I have the time throughout the day, but that's probably all we have time to fix up on stream itself. Which is fine. Let's go ahead and just do a little run here. Even though I'm not actually good at the level. Whoa, 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 why am I a dude now? Am I? Why do I feel like unyasified? Wait. Huh? We had like the slimmer, the body T one. Why? Why'd it give me the old Unreal Man? I was too distracted. I do want to do an like an art pass too. I don't know why they do that over there. And debug that. So there's definitely a lot more polish that I want to do on this level, but I think I want to have a third one up and running beforehand. I'm in the block out mood again, so I want to make a new map while I have that energy. So we'll be doing like planning and like more paper design concept work for that. I have to pull the screenshots that I have for reference too. I already figured out we're gonna do another, I think we're gonna do the ancient city map for those that played Kid Icarus Uprising, which will be another thing that we'll be able to use a lot of the assets we use for both this map and the Spiral Tower map, because it has like a destroyed kind of fortress on one half of the map, and then it has like a wide open field for the other half of the map. And that's kind of the pull of it, is one team spawns in that field that's like really good if you're a melee user, but then the other team spawns in like the actual fortress itself, which is really good if you're ranged. Let me fix that. Why? Did I not just tell it to not do... I think probably I need to set it all to static as well, is what I forgot. Did I not just tell it not to interact with anybody? But we'll do some paper designing for that new map next Friday. Oh, I gotta remove collision on those bits. And then I want to actually start the block out of that on the following weekend. So, not this weekend. This weekend I'll be mostly busy, except for at the end we'll try to make time for a Hades 2 stream. But the following weekend we're going to have a bit of a game dev weekend, because every July I do like to do an anniversary stream for my first indie game, Sonata Theory. So we'll be celebrating 4 years since its release. So I want to do a stream like that next weekend, and then the other stream we do next weekend will be starting up blockout work on this. Because I know there's plenty of weekend viewers that do like the level design streams, but they don't happen as often because we've got a lot of games to play on the weekends. Stuff keeps updating. They cornered me! Where's my teammate? yeah, so again, 4 years ago now, and I was the only designer on it, so it's very unoptimized, but it's a little like Paper Mario inspired slash visual novel type game called Sonata Theory. It is free on Steam. It may explode your computer, because I did not know what optimization was. But it was made with a lot of love and soul, and it did feel like a pretty big flex to be like, we were able to release a game right out of college. A lot of my friends on the team were artists, so the game does look incredible. We kit bashed a lot of like really glowy nature stuff off of the marketplace, and then all of like the 2D art, so the portraits, the characters, and like even the little cinematic at the beginning were things just like made by our team directly from scratch. I think that's like my advice for anyone like wanting to seriously get into games, but the gaming industry is kind of a nuclear disaster right now. So my biggest piece of advice would be like, it does not have to be perfect. Maybe it doesn't even have to be good, but trying to get something out there. Because I do it now, even just with like putting stuff on my portfolio. I'm like, oh, well, I want to change this. This isn't as good as this. And you definitely shouldn't have like bad work on your portfolio, but it's important just to take the first step and like start like overcoming that hurdle as well. Because definitely Sonata Theory is not Game of the Year. I even had some people tell me, like when I got my name in like to bigger credits and stuff, right? They were like, congrats, you've come such a long way since like Sonata Theory. It's laughable now. And I'm like, well, hold up. Let's remember what got me a job in the industry in the first place. I'm like, slow your roll there. It's funny too, because now I'm back in indie dev here for a bit, on a team and working full-time and stuff. Again, a big team, but it is technically being back in indie dev. And a lot of the AAA industry is like just struggling financially right now, so I don't I don't know what those comments on like, aren't you so glad to be out of that junk that's the indie industry? It's like, nah, it's not bad. It's not bad. You get to make what you want. That's pretty good. Oh, I almost won. How much did where my teammate at? Oh, they killed more than me. Don't look at that. Ignore that. I carried, I say. But yeah, it's this weird thing where like indie devs are always going to be a little snobby and be like, aren't you glad you're out of that mess? And then AAA devs are going to be like, aren't you glad that you're like finally doing something actually good now? And AA devs, I did a lot of AA actually, too, are in the middle like, what's the next project going to be, guys? So like all the little points of like game dev kind of go back and forth, but the reality of it is I love AAA, I love AA, and I love indie dev, like both as a team and as a a smaller solo dev. It's all fun. It's all fun. So it is always funny when people like frown down upon like one or the other. I'm like, they're video games. I love video games. But yeah, getting Sonata Theory out was like, it was a pretty big moment for like our whole team, because even though we wrapped development on it like right before graduation. It took another 2 months to get it actually published on Steam because Steam has a long process for your first game. That would be my advice to new people publishing on Steam, is you aren't going to be able to immediately upload it like the day after you bake your build. Give yourself like a 2-month window to wait out all of like the time requirements, and let them like process stuff on their end and for you to gather the needed materials, and set up like Steam achievements and stuff on your end. You're gonna need another 2 months post dev. But yeah, even though we kind of all had either picked up jobs or like were ramping up like commission work and stuff and like improving our portfolios, and we were all like already set for the next chapter of our lives in our friend group, just being able to sit there and be like, watch the game go live and be like, we did it, we have like a game credit, and it's not like an honorary mention credit or anything, it's like we made this game. It was an extraordinary feeling. So again, yeah, nothing has to be perfect, but if you are someone that has like a fear of being like, oh, I want to make a game one day, but I just don't think it will ever be good enough, you never know until you try. Time to explode my computer. Yeah, it may explode it. I can say, since I've been trying to get Sims 3 to run on here to no avail, it runs better than Sims 3, and Sims 3 sells for like $30 or something on Steam, so I'm just saying it's free and it runs better. Do with that information what you will. But I think that is where I'm going to have to call stream for today. Even if we didn't get all of this Shuckable stuff done, I think I'll have it wrapped up so that it'll be in a steady place by the end of my day anyway, and get all of that stuff just polished in general. And we will start off concepting the next arena we want to do for the summer here on next Friday, and hopefully start blocking it out not too long after that. But yeah, current upcoming stream plans are no streams for the usual times I stream during the weekends, probably one later on Sunday for doing a few Hades 2 runs with that new update, and then next week hopefully getting back into the routine schedule of Life Sims on Mondays, checking out the new Sims 4 expansion, getting back to Zelda and Mario Kart on Wednesday, and then more game dev Fridays to keep trying out this field. They're giving you a paid holiday? I just got a paid holiday. Another one? My current job, actually, they are pretty good. I usually get like some sort of holiday time like every month, so that's been pretty nice. And I've been using that time to stream Elden Ring, so whether it's actually a holiday or not, that's up for debate. Elden Ring may not be a holiday. But yeah, thank you guys so much for checking this out. I had a lot of fun despite the Unreal bugs streaming this in the morning before my work day, so I think I'm going to keep this up for the rest of the month. And yeah, I will leave you guys with the music for a bit, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care and have a lovely weekend, everybody.